So here's the situation. Meghan Markle is back in the headlines again. But this time it isn't some red carpet cameo or slick podcast drop, it's way messier. We're talking about the kind of royal fallout that has King Charles sharpening the metaphorical axe, and no, that isn't a tabloid exaggeration. The monarch is said to be seriously weighing whether to strip Meghan of the HRH style. She was asked to mothball in 2020, and honestly it may be the last move left on the board. If that axe swings, it won't just nick the surface, it'll slice straight through the branding that has fueled every Sussex side hustle for the past 5 years. From the outside, the spark looked harmless. A pretty gift basket stuffed with artisanal ice cream pints, silk ribbons, and one discreet note card that read, "With compliments of HRH, the Duchess of Sussex." The clip appeared for a grand total of 10 seconds on entrepreneur Jamie Kern-Lima's motivational podcast. But the backlash spread faster than clotted cream on a scone. After all, that royal cipher wasn't supposed to appear anywhere, sir. Not on camera once the Sussexes stepped back from frontline duty. Meghan's camp insisted the basket was personal, not commercial, just a neighborly gesture between self-made women. Yet the timing said otherwise. The cameo dropped the same week her as-ever apricot spread launched online and sold out. In under an hour, critics mocked the $15 jar as more runny fruit sauce than jam, but TikTok couldn't hashtag as ever fast enough. The message was unmistakable. Royal glitter still sells. That glitter goes back to a single promise forged at Sandringham in 2020. Queen Elizabeth gave Harry and Meghan the soft exit deal of the century. Keep the HRH style on paper, but don't use it to cash in. 4 years later, jars, logos, and Instagram shoutouts keep bending that handshake. For the late Queen, it might have been inconvenient. For Charles, it's getting personal. The new king's reign is barely out of its wrapper, and already one rogue monogram threatens to turn the crown into a discount code. If the basket felt like a careless slip, the sequel shouted, "Strategy." 6 weeks later, in peak royal wedding anniversary season, no less Meghan reposted a thank you letter from Ukraine's deputy prime minister that began, "Your Royal Highness." Instagram stories vanish after 24 hours, but screenshots live forever inside palace WhatsApp chats. Courtiers didn't see an innocent repost. They saw a calibrated flex designed to remind buyers, investors, and algorithms that HRH hovers over every jar, tea bag, and trademark. One family friend called it outrageous. A step away from the agreement. By letting the greeting stay visible, Meghan showed she understands exactly how much power those 4 letters wield in, how quickly they turbocharge a brand. Behind the gates of Buckingham, patience snapped with an audible crack. Grant Harrold, the butler, who once spent his evenings ironing Charles's pajama top, seems warned publicly that if Meghan kept monetizing the style, the king will have no choice but to step in. He wasn't exaggerating. Palisades quietly drafted a contingency letter, cheekily nicknamed Project Boundary, and slid it into the monarch's red leather dispatch box. One signature on that parchment would vaporize HRH from Meghan's world. By breakfast? End of story at least on paper. Yet it's never just about paper. Titles are oxygen for a brand built on implication. Remove HRH and every product suddenly has to stand on its recipe, not its mythology. Palace strategists know that, and Meghan's lawyers know it too. So far her defense hinges on hair-thin technicalities. The gift card was private. The Ukrainian letter was gratitude, not commerce. But to anyone watching the feed, those flashes of royal shorthand operate like neon arrows. Yes, this is still a duchess. And yes, you want a slice of her lifestyle. Out in the real world, the backlash is gathering horsepower. A mid-May opinion poll of 4,500 British readers clocked a brutal margin. 97% want the HRH styles gone for good. Another survey pegs Meghan's UK favorability at 17%, just barely ahead of Prince Andrew on a bad news day. And even in their own namesake county, Sussex civic leaders have had enough. They fired off an open letter accusing the couple of ignoring Sussex Day, visiting the region only once, and demanded the dukedom be reassigned to someone who actually shows up. Scroll any comment thread and the fatigue is obvious. Enough profiting off what you abandoned. The discomfort isn't limited to disgruntled voters. Charles's inner circle worries the monarchy looks weak, dithering while one rogue relative turns symbols into souvenirs. Their fear is simple. Prestige is like porcelain once it cracks. Everyone sees the fracture. Each day that HRH pops up on a jam tag, a little more mystique leaks away. Charles's own ascent was overshadowed by decades of waiting. He can't afford to look like he's waiting again for this problem to fix itself. Legally, the fix is child's play. One letter's patent no. Parliament needed would, do to Meghan what divorce did to Diana and scandal did to Andrew, erase HRH. In a single line, stripping the dukedom is harder. That would require Parliament. But the symbolism of removing HRH alone is colossal. Titles aren't decorative. They're centuries-old IOUs binding royals to service. Treat them like brand assets, and you reduce monarchs to influencers with better wardrobes. Meanwhile, Prince Harry floats in awkward limbo. Remember when he was the relatable royal, the wounded warrior who connected with millennials, veterans, and school kids? Lately, he looks like a muted extra in his own franchise. Friends say he panicked when rumors swirled that Archie and Lilibet's passports were delayed over HRH styling. He reportedly hates the optics of Meghan's branding gambits, but keeps his frustrations off camera. Royal strategists point out a colder threat. The children's entitlement to prince and princess hinges on goodwill from their grandfather and eventually Uncle William. If that goodwill wobbles, Harry's silence today could cost his kids tomorrow. And then there's the big picture money trail. Trademark filings cover provision of food and drink. Temporary lodging, shorthand for a Montecito chic hotel chain draped in Sussex rose gold. Add $12 herbal tea bags, vegan honey harvested from rescue hives, and a teased memoir about founder resilience. And you've got a portfolio that whispers royalty without saying the word. It's clever advertising until the monarchy decides it looks like merchandise, not modernization. One palace insider muttered, "Every time you think they can't make it worse, they do." The contrast could not be starker. Inside Buckingham, aides speak in hushed voices about duty, sacrifice, and lineage. Inside Montecito, the Sussex Comes team speaks about metrics, impressions, and reach. Charles knows the two worlds can't collide forever without sparks catching. He's already a post-cancer, post-coronation monarch, balancing modern relevance against ancient ritual. He's shown patience that once looked like compassion, but now risks resembling complacency. The final straw may not be any single jar of jam or polite repost. It may be the cumulative sense that the crown itself is becoming a punchline. Remember the Platinum Jubilee balcony moment? Everyone talked about who stood beside the Queen and who did not. That balcony isn't just stone, it's stagecraft. If stagecraft loses credibility, so does the script of monarchy. Charles, a lifelong devotee of symbolism, think fountain pens, tartans, and tree plantings, understands the danger. He reportedly practices speeches in private, perfecting the cadence of authority. Many believe he has drafted words already. Crisp, direct, irreversible. So what happens if he signs? Meghan wakes up simply Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. The HRH is gone. The cipher erased from notepaper, the glitter scraped off product placement dreams. Investors might squirm. Influencer friends who once bragged got a hamper from the Duchess might dial back their excitement. That doesn't necessarily doom the brand good. Jam is good. Jam, but it forces a pivot from prestige marketing to actual product merit. And if Charles goes further stripping the dukedom itself, then Meghan's last formal style would be Princess Henry. A name that stuffs her back into the medieval tradition of wives being called by their husband's first name. For someone who champions independence, that irony would sting. But hesitation has a cost too. Every week, Charles waits. Another story circulates. Another hashtag trends. Another poll screams weakness. Even loyal subjects start asking the forbidden question. If the king can't reign in his own daughter-in-law, how can he safeguard anything else? Modern monarchy is fragile. It relies on people believing that crowns convey something valuable, something above the push and pull of marketing. Titles aren't souvenir mugs. They carry centuries of sweat, treaty, and tradition. Dilute them, and they don't regain potency once the jar is empty. Harry's dilemma deepens with every delay. On screen, he smiles beside veterans one day, attends polo charity events the next. But the freeze frame tells another story, shoulders slightly hunched, eyes darting sideways, like a man scanning for fallout clouds. He can't publicly oppose his wife without fueling gossip. He can't publicly confront his father without reopening old wounds. So he waits, in each week of waiting, paints him paler against Meghan's technicolor ambition. Meghan, for her part, strides forward. She chats about female empowerment, quotes Maya Angelou, drops hints of future docuseries about reinventing legacy. Her supporters praise her hustle. Why shouldn't a modern woman monetize her platform? Her critics call it opportunism. Draped in royal lace, both camps agree on one thing. The HRH monogram, even unused, radiates value. It's the invisible ingredient behind every sold-out drop and viral launch. Remove it, and the taste of as ever changes, maybe slightly. Maybe dramatically. Meanwhile, British tabloids keep the pressure cooker hissing. Front pages scream, strip the titles, protect the crown. Columnists dig up every old grievance, from avocado toast headlines to the Sussexes' Netflix tell-all. Online, TikTok. Sleuths compare freeze frames. Did Meghan's stationery sneak an HRH watermark? Did her tea blend borrow clover from the palace kitchens? Conspiracy or coincidence? The chatter alone fuels the drama. And drama, as any platform knows, drives engagement. Charles hears it all. He reads summaries of morning shows, sees nightly news clips, yes, even the spicy ones he pretends not to watch. Courtiers say his jaw clenches whenever footage of the jam basket He's a man who once wrote essays on sustainable farming. Now his monarchy is reduced in headlines to strawberries and sugar. The absurdity cuts deep. Royal watchers note that Charles often chooses action when ridicule overshadows respect. That moment may be arriving faster than Meghan's next product drop. The palace timetable quietly revolves around 3 dates: Trooping the Colour in June, the state opening of Parliament in November, and the Sandringham Christmas Walk. Each event is theatre cameras, crowds, symbolic balcony placements. Charles knows if HRH drama dominates any of those, the storyline swallows the ceremony. A decisive move before the first SR shock could reset the narrative. A hesitant autumn compromise risks headlines like "King blinks first," and a Christmas confrontation would cast frosty shadows over royal family unity photos. All sides can sense the tension tightening. Meghan's legal team prepares counterstatements about disproportionate punishment. Sussex-friendly outlets draft OPDs about silencing a strong woman. Monarchists line up historians to explain why titles matter. The stage is almost set. The props arranged, the spotlight warming. All that's missing is the pen stroke. And that brings us to the cliff edge. The monarchy's next chapter may hinge on a document shorter than your phone contract. If King Charles signs, Meghan keeps her duchess rank but loses the HRH forever. She becomes a celebrity entrepreneur. With a fascinating backstory, still desirable, still bankable, but missing the siren call of royal shorthand. If Charles hesitates, Meghan's brand continues to skate on the blurred line between nostalgia and rebellion. Some will cheer the audacity. Others will see proof that the crown is turning into little more than a lifestyle logo. Strip away the swirl of gossip and the question is surprisingly stark. Can a 1,000-year-old institution survive the influencer economy? In the algorithm age, attention is the currency that dethrones kings and crowns memes. Meghan has mastered that currency. Charles, guardian of tradition, must decide whether to defend old boundaries or embrace a looser future. The two visions cannot coexist indefinitely without cracking the family china. So here we stand, teetering on the lid of a jam jar that could pop any second. Will King Charles swing the axe and seal the boundary once and for all? Or will the syrup keep dripping sweet, sticky, and profitable straight down the monarchy's sleeve? The answer might arrive in a quiet palace communique, a brief line in the court circular, or a last-minute announcement as Trooping the Colour jets roar overhead. Whatever form it takes, the next move belongs to one man, one pen, and a very short piece of parchment, the only certainty. Once the seal breaks, there's no putting the preserve back in the jar.